What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Danny the Bull here with my boy God's Entry. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Pretty good. How you doing?
All good. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Sorry I'm a little late, man. My internet went in and out.
Yeah, no worries. People have been waiting patiently in the chat because they want to hear what you have to say.
Cool.
So we're going to talk a little bit first about your background. We're going to look at some charts afterwards. At the end, maybe we'll answer some questions from the chat. But for people who don't know God's Entry, take us on your crypto journey. When did you get into crypto? How'd you get into crypto?
Well, okay. Hey, once again, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. First got into crypto in the very beginning, actually. My buddy of mine gave me a whole bunch of Bitcoin when it was like under $160.
Wow. He gave it to you?
Yeah, because we was trying to get me into it, but I didn't know much about it because I wasn't really tech savvy or anything like that. And yeah, I ended up selling it back then, and I did okay.
How much?
I made like 15 grand or something like that.
Do you remember how much he gave you?
It's like 1,000. I had 1,000 of them.
1,000 Bitcoin?
Yeah.
What would that have been worth at the peak? You calculate?
Yeah, no, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. So then,
that's why I stopped paying attention to crypto after that. And he begged me to get back in around 17 because he was trading at that point, and he wanted me to take a look at the charts, and he said I'm better at it than he would be because he was just getting like rumors and information, and that's kind of what started me back into crypto back then. And I did pretty well on XRP back in 17, but I rode all sorts of coins to the bottom.
Yeah.
So that was like my first lesson. And from that point on, I said, you know what? I need to figure out these charts. I want to make money when it goes up and down. I need to understand what's going on. And I just got fascinated with it, and it was just a personal goal of mine to start to understand charts.
And why, a lot of people don't believe in technical analysis. They base their decisions strictly off of fundamentals, the news. What would you say to them? Why should they look at charts, and why are charts relevant?
Well, as I say in the beginning, I was just like everybody else, chasing all the shiny objects, thinking that, all the good news makes the coins go up. And then I really start to dive into it. And then I was in a bunch of different trade groups. And once you start to notice patterns in the chart, the coin's already in a bearish pattern before it goes down. The news just, escalates it, accelerates it rather. And after you've seen it so many times, you're just like, the news is really noise. It really, truly is. But you wouldn't know that unless you actually dove into the charts and you watched them move all the time. Yeah.
So you're saying the news follows the charts, not the other way around.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Like just for example, when FTX went down, we were already in a descending triangle or a bear flag. I forget which one, but we were already in a bearish pattern.
Yeah. And now you're trying to, share your knowledge. You got a Discord going on?
Oh yeah, I started a Discord basically just to teach people how to chart, like fundamental, like price action, to read the price action, pattern recognition, maybe some simple concepts. Because when I first got into trading, I chased all the indicators that told you when to buy and sell. Well, now that I look back on it, the first thing I wish I learned was price action before I learned how to trade. So I kind of did it backwards. So that's why I said, everybody asks me how to trade. I said, I'm not going to teach you how to trade until you can read a chart, because then I feel confident you can make your own decision.
Yeah. And
that's my thinking anyways.
Dan Kahn said 1,000 Bitcoin, 68 million.
Don't tell me. I wouldn't be here right now with you guys.
Paper-handed, man. So I know you from the VeVe and Omi community, and I think a lot of us know you from there. What's your story there? How did you get it? Did you get into VeVe first, or did you get into Omi first?
Omi was it, because back then, I was doing pretty well in the bull market. Like I said, I have a couple other trading groups that I'm in. And we pay attention to what they call the rotation. So these coins move in rotation to their category. Say it's like a DeFi coin, NFT coin, layer 1, layer 2, all that, that's, they stick in groups. And all the NFT coins were popping off. And I was like, you know what? Let me find one that didn't. And somehow I landed on Omi. I started researching it for like 3 days straight. And I'm like, wow, this is a no-brainer. I jumped right in to Omi. And
What made you think it was a no-brainer?
the founder, basically when I saw Al Khan, to be quite honest, that was involved. And yeah, I was like, this is a no-brainer. These guys are looking to do something, positive, that's long-standing. That's what I figured. Why would Al Khan be involved in something that's not going to make it?
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking also. And then after, go ahead.
I was going to say, why would he want to go out on top? He doesn't.
Yeah, for someone with that history of success to get back in the game at his age, it's got to be something special pulling him in.
Right.
And then, so then you got into VeVe Collectibles, and what's that like? What's your vault looking like? Do you have a lot, or did you sell off?
I sold a few things. Not much. I have like 1,500 items.
Wow.
I think I got 140 sets.
Wow.
I had 145. I kind of took it easy because I was planning on selling some items to cash out to buy Omi with, just because I dumped a lot of my profits from trading into the VeVe app. And to be quite honest, I didn't pay attention to it too much. I just kept buying. Kind of became like an addiction, to be quite honest.
Were you stacking before like the hype and the run up?
In VeVe or?
In VeVe.
Yeah, well, I was buying the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Well,
how early did you get into VeVe?
In March.
So early.
3rd? It was March 3rd was my date. Yeah, the 21.
Yeah, so you're early. And
I think there was only like 5,000 people in the app at that time.
It's crazy. What are your thoughts long term? You're holding like till new all-time highs. You think we're going to get back to another run?
Well, to be quite honest, VeVe was like my long-term investment because I'm a trader, so I don't really have too many investments because I like my capital to go to work for me right away. So I looked at VeVe as like something I have in the future, and if it didn't work out, all my nieces and nephews would have a bunch of NFTs.
Yeah,
I just give it away. So
yeah,
that was my original thoughts.
And what are your thoughts on Omi now, like the progress of the project? I know there's a lot of like negative sentiment lately, before today, because prices go up and sentiment changes. But there's been negative sentiment from the community because of like slow rollout of developments. What are your thoughts on that stuff? Do you care, not care?
Actually, I was one of the people upset because about the exchanges, because I kind of had a game plan, and that totally got blown out. So now I'm just riding it with everybody else. But I'm still confident in the project. I believe we're going to get to where we're going. I think if we have an exchange when we're in a real bull run, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's my focus. Their product, their NFTs, it's a no-brainer with all the IP and everything else. So I don't think anybody can really compare it to them in that respect. But as far as the coin, we need an exchange, and then we'll get heavy hitters actually trading the coin.
Yeah. All right, you ready to do some charts? Talk about whether we're in a bull run or a bull trap?
Sure. We'll bring up, you see it? All right, here we go.
Yep.
All right, first, this is Bitcoin. And just so everybody knows, in my Discord, every Sunday we do a market overview. And I try to have unbiased opinion and find both directions all the time so we can be prepared. And I'm trying to create an area where everybody can engage, ask questions, and share and learn. That's the objective. But this is Bitcoin. A couple of weeks ago, I identified this bullish divergence. The RSI was running up and the price is running down. And I pretty much said this is where we could go, to the top of this pattern, because this is a simple descending wedge. And the target is basically 25.2. Like, we didn't make it there all the way, but that's the target for this pattern. I'm very hesitant to say that we're bullish. I believe we're in just a bear market rally. Let me turn on a couple things here. So we got this. That's a 21 EMA. That's a 200. That's a 50. So we have what they call a death cross forming here. It just so happens to be where this target is. So we're trading on the weekly below this 200. And we have never really done that for this amount of time. Like back in 19, we were only here for whatever it was, like 9 months, I believe it was, but we were never this deep below. And here, 2020, we're only here roughly 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm just hesitant to think that we're going to be bullish because here's the main reason. If you go up into this zone right here, between 29 and like 31, we spent a whole year, actually my fault, almost 2 years up here, 500 plus days. All right, so this is our massive resistance, is this zone right here. So currently, we've only been below here about 240 days. So generally, we should stay down here for enough, almost equal amount of time, or close to, and build momentum to actually come up through this way, up through this resistance here. This is massive resistance right now. Besides this death cross on a weekly, then you have the yearly pivot. Then we have this massive resistance. So there's just a lot of overhead resistance above us. And I believe we need to at least consolidate between like 15K and where we're at now and just build momentum before we can go back up. That's my first thinking with Bitcoin at the moment.
So what would make you think we're in a bull market? Like what would change your mind?
No, we're not. I don't see at least a true lower high or double bottom. Like I would like to see price, if we do get rejected, come down here, find support, preferably above the 21 EMA, because we need to hold that before we can keep going back up. We need a lower high.
Lower
a
highs.
higher low rather.
Yeah, right. Higher lows.
So this yellow line is a 21 EMA. So we need to stay above this to be bullish. We've only spent, I guess, 3 weeks now above it. And what I don't like to see is, you see these weekly candles are getting smaller. It's actually forming a top. So we want strength to go into resistance to break it. We don't want to start making smaller candles. The next thing you know, we're going to round over and correct down. Like that's our next move. We should be correcting down. And then if we find support higher than where we were prior, then that's like the first signal. Then we got to break this high. We got to eventually break this high. And then, you know, that's a confirmed bull run in my mind. I'm hesitant to say, yeah, we're bullish. I'd rather call it, you know, correct and not get the absolute bottom. And
in terms of picking a bottom, I think you've said that you think will hit 12,000. Are you sticking to that?
Or? Yeah, that's my target. That's my target. I mean, I'm not set on that. If we start to make higher low here, I'm gonna have to start to adjust and be flexible.
Right.
You know, I don't stick on a target. It's not about being right or wrong right now. It's about, I'm just watching the price action and I'm looking for, like I said, a better structure than this. We'd have it even cleared this high right here.
And how much is that? I can't see on my
25.2.
25.2.
Yeah, we need to clear that high, and then I'd be a little bit more confident, and then hold support. But like I said, there's so much overhead resistance. I'm hesitant.
And does you know, when you look at the S&P or the Dixie, do those things influence your thoughts?
Yes. All right, so that was Bitcoin. All right, I'm gonna go to another chart. It's the SPY. All right, so this is why I'm hesitant to call bull run just yet. All right, this is the SPY. This is the yield inversion difference. It's a yield curve. And this is the Fed's rate. So this red right here marks inverted yield curve. Okay. Then the funds rate flattens out where they stop raising rates. And as you can see, then we drop. It's quite a big drop, you know. That was 48%. It did the same thing. That was 2000, 2001. And did the same thing here, in 08. We had inversion. It flattened the rate. They stopped raising rates. And then we dropped. And I believe that's going to happen at some point, because that's what happens all the time.
So everyone's expecting, once they pivot to stop raising rates, everyone expects the market to run. You think based on history, it's going to do the opposite? Correct.
Now, with that being said, the Fed says they're not going to cut rates this year. Right. That gives if they're telling the truth. We don't know what they're doing really.
Right.
But we probably have at least three, maybe more rate hikes. So in the meantime, there's nothing saying that we can't run up, because we did. Let me go to this chart. We did break our downwards trend line here. So there's nothing saying for the next couple months we couldn't run up and do something crazy. And we broke this trend. So we let me get my arrow here. We break this high right here. We could do what Bitcoin did. Maybe we run up and make a big double top. Trap all sorts of people before we, so we could have a nice bear market rally.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure it's a bull run.
Before dumping again.
Right. That's the best case scenario I see right here. First, I want to see it clear this high. Right here. I'd like to see it clear this high. Roughly around 4,300. That's a SPY. We clear that high. Like I said, we can run up to the top, but I keep in the back of my mind about the Fed's fund rate and what happens after they pivot.
Yeah. So, in regards to, go ahead.
Because Bitcoin has never been in this scenario before.
Right.
So it's quite unknown.
In regards to the S&P, you seeing the same thing there?
With?
In terms of a rally?
Oh, yeah. We could keep going. But we actually may be topping out. And Bitcoin's giving us a clue here. We're coming into the death cross. We're coming into our target from this bullish divergence. This is our target. And then if we go to the dollar, which is inverse correlation. So when the dollar goes up, markets come down. We've had this is the weekly, pretty strong weekly candle. Go on the daily, you can see we're doing what Bitcoin just did a couple weeks ago, breaking out of this descending wedge. So when the dollar goes up, markets go down.
So this is the Dixie's coming back up.
Correct.
And that has an inverse correlation with risk assets.
Correct. All markets, yeah. Currently.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping an eye on that. It looks like we found a bottom and we're coming out of this descending wedge. Yeah. So we may have found a top where we're at now, to be quite honest.
And then, so when do you expect? So you said an equal amount of time, right? But from as last time, as the bull cycle with the bear cycle. So that would put us in this stretch for like another year.
I'm talking more so to get above this major resistance.
Okay.
Not so much a bull and bear market cycle. I'm talking to get above this resistance. We should spend some time below to build momentum. If it was like this time next year where we're closer to the halving, I'd be like, yeah, we'll run. We'd probably find a double bottom. I think, my original theory was we would find a bottom in like the third or fourth quarter of this year.
Yeah.
Right. It all depends when they stop raising rates, really. And we have that reaction to the market that generally happens as a sell-off.
All right. Before we get to Omi, you want to take a look at ETH and tell us what you're seeing there?
Sure. All right, ETH. What's this one here? Well, see, one more thing on Bitcoin. You see this top, everybody's very excited back here when we're around 48K.
Yep.
You see that topping candle? We're kind of doing the same thing. Everybody's kind of happy and exuberant right now. Euphoria. Everybody's talking about bull run. Everybody has had the same sentiment was back then as well. So I'm just looking at that candle. They're relatively same. So.
What do you think causes these pumps and these runs? You think this is like, you know, manipulation and people pumping liquidity in order to lure people in and then shake them out?
Well, you think about it, all the guys that were short last year, right? So they were shorting all year, and they started to close their positions at the end of the year for tax purposes.
Yeah.
And now they did their tax harvesting, and now they're putting their money back into the market. And they still may have portions of their short, but they want to hedge themselves. So it's really all the hedge funds, they have to put the money to work or they don't have a job. It doesn't matter what type of market it is. They have to do something. So at this point, you know, January, we generally go up. Let me find. So it's kind of natural for us to be a little bullish in January. It generally happens.
And this was the best, I think, Bitcoin January in a decade.
Great run. Yeah, in the Discord too. Remember, I told everybody we had the hash ribbons buy signal. And I said, generally, we did, at the very least, we get like a 60% pump, 40 to 60% in the past. All right, so this is Ethereum. There's an ascending channel at the moment. What I'm looking for is divergence in RSI. This just happens to be the 12-hour. So this and this is bearish divergence. We had it here. You know, it helps us sell off. I always look for a divergence for reversals in the market. And I have a feeling we could just make we could run up here, make a higher high on the price, a lower high in the RSI, and that'll be bearish divergence again. So I'm really looking at this 1785 area if we do push up. And, you know, best case, we'll get to 2000 to the yearly pivot. We generally like to test what they call the yearly, it's a yearly pivot. So every time it prints a new one, we like to go test this area. So we could go 1785 or 2000 before we decide to reverse back down. So we might have a little bit left in the tank. We'll see what happens.
In terms of coming back down, what where do you see if ETH drops? How low do you think it drops? Do you think, because ETH has been resilient, I think, compared to Bitcoin, right? I mean, Bitcoin hit a new low, broke to 15.7, and ETH never dropped below $1,000 again, like it did, you know.
Yeah, let me find a chart. Hold on a second. Is this the right chart? No. Here, let me go here. All right. So you see this blue line with ETH, this blue trend line?
Yeah.
I say as long as we stay above this blue trend line, we're good. We don't want to lose this blue trend line, you know. So if we come down, you know, I don't want to see us go below 1350 area, you know. If we lose that, then, you know, once again, now we have major support is going to turn into resistance. So as long as we stay above the here, like 1350, we should be good. And we just keep, you know, moseying along here and build up momentum to calm through these resistance, because we have a lot of resistance here. 1785 and like 2045 area.
Yeah. Why do you think ETH has been more resilient?
All the traders trade ETH. That's where all the money's at, all the volume. I mean, from what I know. Plus it's deflationary now, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's getting there. ETH versus Bitcoin long term. Do you think ETH flips Bitcoin one day?
I think there's a high possibility, yes, that will happen. I mean, there's more use case for it. Everybody uses it.
Yeah, I know. And blockchain brings up a good point. ETH is also getting staked. So
the other thing is too, you got to realize it's not as mature as Bitcoin. So there's more percent possible gains you can have on Ethereum.
Right.
Because, you know, it came out a few years later.
It's one cycle behind.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see us about to roll over. You know, we might have one more little push and create some more bearish divergence. Usually we get 2 or 3 drives. So we can see what happens here.
Before we get to Omi, what are you thinking next cycle? Where do you think Bitcoin and ETH go? Do you think about like long-term targets cycle by
Yeah,
cycle?
problem is we don't know where, we don't have a confirmed bottom yet.
Mm-hmm.
When I believe we have a confirmed bottom, I mean, I personally don't see Bitcoin going over 100 grand on the next cycle.
You
It's
don't.
such a no.
You think it'll break 69?
Yeah, it's a very psychological number, 100K. I know everybody thinks it's going to go a lot higher, but I'd rather be in the altcoins than Ethereum. I think Ethereum has a better chance. But we got the 5K, so we could go to anywhere between 10 and 20K for Ethereum.
You think next cycle?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bitcoin, yeah, I don't think we'll get past 100K. That's just what I'm thinking.
And you don't factor like regulation in?
They talk about that every cycle. They talk about it all the time. Once again, it's noise.
Yeah.
They may do it, but until it's done, I don't like to take that information in because it creates a bias for you, and the charts are going to tell you what's going to happen.
Do you think it's being that everyone expected, I think a lot of people expected Bitcoin to go to 100,000 this last cycle. It didn't. Do you think in that same way that a lot of people now expect it, in that $12,000-$15,000 range again, and it won't, just because everyone expects it?
Yeah, what I'm worried about is going to go further if we drop, and then we break market structure, and then we definitely not getting to 100K. So if I go back to Bitcoin, we'll just stay here. We don't want to break down past 25K. Here, let me find another chart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, here's another chart. So we really don't want to break down out of this channel. When we fall below this channel, this is the history of Bitcoin. We break down here, it's just going to create more resistance. So we're going to need more momentum and more time to get back into the channel. So, and right here, a monthly stochastic, as soon as this blue and this red line gets above, we'll say 20 here, which it's almost there. So we stay bullish for one more month. As you can see, when we get above here on the 20 read, on the stochastic here, we start to go up. This is the bull run. This may help me be a little bit more convinced we're in a bull run when both of these, the red and this blue line gets above here. So as you can see here, we went up. Yes, we came back down. Kind of thinking something like that. Like we could have a little run up, reverse down, make a double bottom. Maybe we never make it to 12K. That's fine. I just want to see a confirmed bottom. And we did the same thing back in 15 as well. We ran up a little bit, came down, tested the bottom again, and off we went. These green lines represent the halving. So we still have some time before the halving.
Do you pay attention to Plan B?
No.
Yeah, I just saw
I'm
an
kind of
intro.
at the stage where I just kind of pay attention to myself and only a couple different people, to be quite honest, because it clouds your judgment. Because that's the whole objective with charting. You have to trust your own work. Like, you got to make your own decisions. You can't go off other people.
Yeah,
That's my thinking.
that makes sense. In terms of last cycle, we also got a lot of talks. People were, and I bought into it too, about lengthening cycles and breaking the 4-year cycle trend. Do you think that happens? It's inevitable one day once this asset class grows.
When it matures, yeah, it's very possible.
Do you think that happens after next cycle, or you think it's going to take a long time? I think we lost God's entry there. Let me shoot him a text. Looks like he's frozen. All right, while we wait for him to get back in, we'll go through some of these comments. GE's charts are so freaking clean. Good stuff. Yeah, he really knows, what he's doing and what he's talking about. And I've been meeting with him over the last month or so, and he's been kind of training me a little So I'm trying to learn as much as I can during this bear market. We got Doge Nation in the house. Kathy Wood thinks Bitcoin will hit 1 million to 1.5 by 2030. I saw that. ARK Invest released, I think, like a 165-page report on crypto. I saw it summarized. Paul Barron Network summarized it for those of you who watch Paul Barron. And, you know, Kathy's got some wild numbers sometimes, but her Tesla number came through a few years ago. She's having a horrible year, possibly like the worst year, because everything she has is risk on. So she's gotten killed the most. It'll be interesting to see how she comes out after this. But she says Bitcoin to 1 million, and in a bull case, possibly 1.5 by 2030. We go, charts don't factor in global economics. I think what God's entry is saying is that charts factor them in first. And, you know, we tend to get the news after. Like, so it's like, you know, buy the rumor, sell the news sort of thing. So it's kind of like the news is baked in. That doesn't take into consideration, obviously, black swan events that, you know, come out of nowhere and crash markets. But I think this is the thought. Blockchain Comics, Kathy might be right, but the Dixie needs to fall hard. Dan Kunn in the house. What's up, Dan? Love God's entries charts. Like you said, so clean and clear. What's the name of this gent? God's entry. Blockchain Comic says, meaning inflation is huge and Dixie is not traded in oil anymore globally. So I'm going to post how to follow him. He's on Twitter. I'm going to post his Discord. Let me see. He's texting me. I'm going to post his Discord link in the description so you guys can all get in there. He'll be coming back on in a few. He's having some internet issues. Doge Nation. He read it all on the crapper. I love Doge Nation. He's a big Tesla bull. Yep. There's his socials, whatever that's called. Yeah, and his knowledge with charts is awesome. In his Discord, so there are a bunch of different charts in there. People share their own charts. And every week he has just like a video like this, a live stream, where he answers questions based off charts. He reads through things and just gives people his perspective. And my boy's back.
Sorry, bro. The aliens took me for a second.
Man, I hope you saw what's going to happen next cycle, right?
Shit. give me some. All right. Yeah, I don't know what sums up my internet happened earlier, so I apologize about that.
All good. So what were we talking about?
We need to talk about Omi. Hold on.
Let's talk about some Omi because, you know, sentiment's been down, but then those green candles come and people feel a little bit better about Omi, right? The Omi homie started feeling a little bit better. And it was weird because Omi kind of moves against the market sometimes. It's got a mind of its own.
100%. Just trying to set up a couple of charts here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. A few weeks ago, when everything was running up, you know, I think Mana and Sand, I think they nearly doubled up, and Omi was stagnant. And a lot of people.
And that's how I caught Omi on the run up, because it was stagnant then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
believe
you knew its turn would come.
Yeah, in a bull run, they all go off. Doesn't matter.
Right.
The price of them.
And I think that's something that Kay was saying. I was streaming with Kay a couple of days ago. And that's one of the things we were saying is that even if they don't deliver on anything, Omi will still move with the market.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so cheap because you got to realize once we're in a bull cycle and everything's in a rotation, everybody looks for the 1 penny coins because they have the biggest gains. So the longer we're under here, the better. So here we go. Let me find this.
Yeah, guys, hit that like button. Help me out in the algorithm. Thanks, Doge. All right, here's the chart.
All right, we got Omi here, right?
Yes, sir.
So a couple of weeks ago, I said, follow this basically this green trend line. I said, as long as we hold this trend line, we'll be able to pop to the top of this range here. And at the same time, we're making an ascending triangle. And the target is actually this, 001251. That's the actual target. We actually almost hit the target.
That's the target because that's where that's the next level of resistance.
And that's just the target. You just take this.
Got you.
When you do these patterns here, you just basically clone this, the equal distance, you extrapolate that and take it to the top, and that roughly gives you the target. So we generally get 70% of these moves, But I would like to see us close like a 4-hour. And look, so we go down in a 4-hour, we came down, we're finding support above the top of the range, just so slightly. You can see that. Open it up a little bit. You can see like right here, starting to find support on a 4-hour. And generally when we have wicks like this, price likes to go back and test it because that means there's a lot of liquidity there. So there's a good chance we go back up to here, maybe even a little bit further.
And then come back down, in your opinion.
It's going to do what the rest of the market does. We may not fall back into this range. We don't know.
And if, Bitcoin does go find the new low, how low do you expect Omi to go?
I just believe we're going to fall back into this range because Omi was beaten way down before Bitcoin fell.
So you're seeing back into that 0007.
We could go back down here. But, it all depends what happens with Bitcoin, to be quite honest. And you know what? If they just come out of nowhere and give us an exchange, we may never see these numbers again, to be quite honest, too. It's right. Because then that means all the money's just going to flow in to buy it because there's nobody that has Omi to sell. So just a pure volume of people buying it on an exchange is going to push the price up.
Yeah. And in terms of next cycle, where do you see Omi? Like, where do you see Omi going when it's on exchanges, major exchange like Binance, when, the utility program is out?
I already have a target between 5 and 10 cents.
For next cycle.
Yeah, that's conservative. I'm not going to fall. Let me find another chart here.
Okay. That'll make a lot of people millionaires.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I believe we can have a 50 to 150x, no problem from these levels. Let's see, this has a little bit more. Oh. Which one has all the price that I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It's only on like 3, so.
Let me go US. Oh, the other exchange is a gate. No. It's a Sunday. What's the other exchange? Why is it not showing up anymore? They take it off?
I don't think
Did one
so.
exchange go under already?
Yeah, one did. Let me see if I have one open over here.
Tell me the exchange. I thought it was. Because they only have 2 now.
Let me take a look if I have it. I can tell you. Nah. Doge Nation says, when Omi hits 10 cents, I'm flying over to Danny's place in my private plane to give him a big hug.
There you go.
I'll take that hug, brother.
Where is they got rid of the other exchange that was up here? What was it? Sendex? Wasn't that up here?
Yeah, this guy's, he says it was a Sendex, was wondering as well. It disappeared.
Yeah, it did disappear. So, I mean, I forget what was the high.
The high was like 1.5 cents.
All right, so we got this. We're good. We can use the Sendex. I found it. All right. I knew I had it saved in here somewhere. So we were playing with this before. So if this is the bottom, this all we can use is fibs for this, you know. So a likely target, an easy target is going to be this 2 cent area. You know, that's going to be easy. And it goes to 2.618. That's roughly 3.5 cents. And a 3.618, that's, you know, a little bit shy of 5 cents. So that's really all you can do, project that far out with fibs and, you know, not be guessing. Once we do go on price discovery, we start making some more price structure. I can see from there, we may go higher. And yes, you know, we never know. Could be a lot of hype around it, and none of these technical targets even matter. But from a technical standpoint, those are my numbers.
Do you like take into consideration market cap when thinking about these things?
Not really. I pay attention to the chart more so.
Yeah. What would so let's say you were a long-term holder, you have a hodl bag of Omi, and you're in next cycle. What would be your strategy to take profits? Because I get that question a lot from people. I think that's one of the most difficult things to do is to sell when there's euphoria and there's greed in the air.
Yeah, it is one of the hardest things to do. It was hard for me, you know, it still is. It's not, you know, it's not an easy fix. The idea is just to have a plan. When you get to certain price areas, to take a portion of your position out, and you actually leave a small portion at the very end in case it keeps running, you know. So I would have, not financial advice, I would have at least 3 or 4 areas where I'd be taking funds out. And then it takes stress off the trade, and you still have some involved. And in the very worst case, you know, you have a moon bag that you'll never sell. So say you have a bag from down here, whatever, you save 25% of your bag. So now when we go into the next bear market, you're going to be adding to a lower position when price comes down, and you'll actually have a cheaper price because you're going to add to that bag.
Yeah.
So you should always keep a little portion. That's one thing I wish I did in the past. I wish I kept more what they call moon bags.
Yeah, your long-term hodls.
Yeah.
And do you have moon bags right now, or are you strictly cash and trading?
Strictly cash.
Why did you make that decision?
More confident in my trading ability. I want my money working for me instantly. And I'd
So
rather
that's even Omi. So right now you're not holding any Omi?
Nope.
Wow.
I will buy some.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I showed those other charts, I believe we're going to have a sell-off. So I feel safer just being in my Ethereum and my USDT. Because usually when I trade, I convert it right to cash, more or less.
Yeah.
Now we're in a bull market. I'll start throwing funds all over the place, so it works for me.
Yeah.
I just want confirmation.
If you guys have questions, you guys can throw them in the chat. We're going to wrap up with some questions here with God's entry. Here's one. Omi or Bitcoin, what's your opinion? I think you already said that you don't like Bitcoin, but if in terms of like, would you recommend someone go full risk on into a small coin like Omi as opposed to holding something safer like Bitcoin? Not financial advice, of course.
Not financial advice. I mean, you want to diversify a little bit. You know, I mean, there's a lot more upside potential with Omi, but we don't know what's going to happen. We know Bitcoin and Ethereum's not going anywhere. Well, we don't know, but the high probability that they're not going anywhere. But Omi, you're going to make more money, but it's more risk.
Right. All chat, one more sell-off after pivot.
I agree. I totally agree. That's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm hesitant to call this a bull market rather than a bear market rally.
Yeah. And for people who, like me, I'm more of a long-term investor. I'm learning how to trade now. You're teaching me. Thank you. I'm learning how to trade. But for someone like me, who's just a long-term investor, DCA is the way.
Yeah, because you're not worried about it at that point. You're not worried about price. It's more like a time horizon. So you DCA now. You're not worried about the price. You just know after the halving, we're going to have a run. Generally, that's what happens. So we got to go with the data. Just be prepared to sell. Well, the hardest part is selling.
Yeah. And the key thing is making a plan beforehand.
Yeah. If you have a 3 to 4 year plan, I suppose you should be fine. Not financial advice, but like I said, we don't know what's going to happen to 100% guarantee, but generally we run pretty hard after the halving.
Yeah. And here's a question. When you guys going to buy Omi? When the next sell-off happens? So your answer to that would be, I'm assuming, when you're convinced that the bottom is in, that's when you'll start buying.
No, that's one. My main thing is I want an exchange. Because I want to be able to get my money in and out without losing 1% of my money just to get out of the market. Like right now, if you wanted to sell whatever, a lot of Omi, you're going to lose. You're going to lose 1% on your money just to get in and out of the position. Now in a bull market, there's a lot more volume. Right now, the volume's too weak for me to get in.
Yeah. And does it bothers you, obviously, that they don't have the exchanges yet?
Of course, I love Omi. I'm heavily invested in VeVe, but I got to stay disciplined to what I know. For my game plan, that's not for everybody.
GE, your thoughts on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap misreporting token supply? Some people associate large token supplies with red flags. I think it keeps Omi under the radar.
Yeah, but didn't they already do all the founders tokens?
They did, yeah, which is a benefit, a plus. All the founders tokens are released. It's
do
fully
all the research and you find that out. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I think, when people research it and see that the founders tokens have been unlocked and it's fully diluted and moving towards deflationary, I think that's a selling point for some people. But
yeah, that's why I want to see the Omi utility program. That's kind of why I made half of my vault.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's what I'm looking for.
I think also psychologically, people are really attracted to those, especially like retail. Really attracted to those, 000 coins.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Shibas, because they think psychologically that this is going to a penny and I'm going to be a millionaire.
Right. Yeah, I think Omi's fine.
Yeah. Let's diversify. 50% Omi, 50% VeVe. Great analysis, God's entry. Please hit the like button. Yes.
Thank you, bud.
Do you think Bitcoin dominance will decrease as the years go by?
Here, let's look at it real quick. That's a good question.
Benjamin Cowan, whatever his name is, he loves to talk about dominance.
So just zoom out here for a minute. It probably should. Definitely if ETH flips it. If ETH flips it, yes. Usually with Bitcoin, oh, there's another chart I wanted to bring up. Let me find it here. This is the altcoins, basically. There we go.
How many hours a day do you spend on charts?
A few hours in the morning. Depends what day of the week it is. I spend a lot more like on Sundays and Mondays. I usually have my game plan set out for the week. A little less towards the end of the week. Just for some reason, I'm better trader Sunday through Wednesday for some reason. So I try to make my money by then. once you get into trading, you find out, you know, your good days, your bad days, and you trade your good days, obviously. So if it's not now. Sure, hold on a second. It's a total 3. Yeah, this is what I want to see. This is the whole market here, besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. Originally, I was looking for us to break out of this channel. I don't have it right now. I don't have it here. I'll make it real quick. So this is like roughly like a channel here. This is a bullish channel. So I was looking for us to break out of this, and then altcoins could run. But now the more I'm looking at it, we're creating bearish divergence. So we may start to sell off again. Because this is what I look for the markets to reverse. We have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on a daily. This is bearish divergence 2 from here to this point, and these 2 points. So,
and for those listening who don't know, bearish divergence is when the RSI is moving down while the price is going up.
Correct. And it's a big deal in the market because everything has to come back to, you know, some sort of balance. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. You know, when you were abducted by aliens, we were talking about Kathy Wood came out with a report, and she said she thinks that the whole asset class is going to hit $20 trillion, $25 trillion by 2030, which would be, you know, 25x for the whole asset class. That'd be generational wealth for, you know, people involved.
Kathy Wood lost a lot of people money these last couple of years.
I know. I just said that too. She got wrecked.
Yeah.
More than anyone.
Well, they gotta, you know, they gotta hype their own bags too.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything's possible. I don't hold much weight to what she says, to be quite honest.
I feel you.
Did you know most of the hedge funds, like 85% of them, lost in this rally? I mean, not this rally, but, you know, the past cycle.
Really?
They bought the top.
Yeah. Yeah, most hedge funds underperform the S&P, right?
Yeah. For this past run up. It's not always like that, but
yeah. Well, any other questions in the chat, you can drop them in. If not, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. I want to thank you for coming on, sharing your charts, your thoughts, and giving us an overview of where you see the market going. Any final thoughts you want to share with people?
Yeah, just be cautious here. You know, I'll always post stuff on Twitter. And if you want to get updated charts, jump into Discord because I post the charts there first. I'll give you my thoughts if that helps. Just be patient. You know, if I think we're in a bull run, I won't say that. But right now, we ran up a lot, so we're due for a correction.
All right. And yeah, if you get me that invite for the Discord again, I'll put it in the description of this video and people can access it easily.
Cool.
But thanks again, everyone in the chat.
Thanks for having me.
God's Entry. Check him out on Twitter. Check out his Discord. Let's go, Chiefs.
Let's go, baby. The Super Bowl. All right.
Be well, brother.
Be good, man.
Take care. Peace out.